ترجمه كريت ترجمه نكريت هيك لو بكارانيه من ترجمه عاده كما باشتر ئەڵێن لە مەبدەی وەرکشۆپەکانمانە مەبدەی گشتگیری بەکارێنی نەک مەبدەی زۆری نا بۆچی مەبدەی گشتگیری لامان باشە گەر تەنها یەک بەڕێزیش پێی باش بێت تەرجمەی کوردی هەبێ بیکەین بۆ یعنی وا بێت ئەو هەموو بەڕێزەکان ئەو بەڕێزە شتێ بکەن لەبەر سەبەبەیە یعنی حەزەکەم بۆیە بەبوورن تۆزیحەیە ئەزام لەوانەیە بۆ بەڕێزانەتان کە بەتەواوەتی تێگەن تۆزێ ناخۆش بکات دووجار ناوەڕۆکە بشێتەوە بەس و باس بکەن لە مەبدەی گشتگیریەوە ئێمە ئەو تەرجمانە پێشکەشەکەین لەبەرەوە سەبرمان لێگرن مەزەگەر هەستان کرد لە دەقەیەکە هەموو بەڕێزانتان هەستەکەن وەڵا هەر تەواو هەموو تێگەن و کێشەکانیە ئەگەر هەمووی متتەفق بێ لەسەرەوە ئەوە پێوەستە تەرجمەکان وەڵام پرسیار وەڵام خێنە کۆتاییەوە یا لە نێوان یان یا لە ئەخیرا بەپێ ئیحتیمالی چەند وەرکشۆپەکە ئەوە کۆفی برێکمان هەیە با بڵم تی برێکمان هەیە لە دەرەوە ئەتوانن هەوەستان زیاتر پیشکەن لەگەڵ دکتۆر ژیدێکا بۆ هەر تەعاونێکی ئەکادمی بۆ بەڕێزیان جارێکی تر زۆر زۆر سوپاس و بەخێر بێن طبعا من داوای لێبوو نەکەم لەوانەیە بەخێنێ بەڕێستان هاتبێتن وایە حضور وایە مناسبە بێنم چون خۆم بناسێنم من ڕۆژی کەمال محەممەد ئەمین بەڕێوەبەری سەنتەری توێژینی کەلەپوری کولتوری دیجیتاڵی و کۆردینیتەری پرۆگرامی ئیراسمۆس زانکۆی پۆلیتێکنیکی سێمانی طبعا بەس یەکێک ناخۆشەکە بوو نەمتوانی بوو خۆشەکە ئەوە بوو لەخوا بەزیابی و خۆشبەختانە تیمێکم هەیە کە دای ماڵە وەڵام لەوێ نەبم باشتر ئەوە نەجوانتر ینی ئەی شەکەل لەوەی کە ئەگەر خۆمی لێبم لەبەرەوە بە تایبەتی سوپاسی زۆرم هەیە بۆ تیمە مادوونە ناسەکەم مامۆستانیانیش کە بەڕێزیان پێ ڕێکخەریکی بۆ وەرکشۆپەکان زۆر زۆر سوپاس جارێکی تر بۆ بەڕێزان بۆ ئامادە بوونە So I was just to bring up, I was just introducing you as our guest lecturer from the University of Masai and giving a little bit bio about you and talking briefly about the Erasmus and the Erasmus exchange with the University of Masai and how we funded it. And that I was talking about the translation part that we are using the principle to use as a source majority. So there's a context to understand it. We would rather make the translation.
No, I'm not that happy about that, because I respect your...
But at some point, I know if there's anyone everyone, if there's a concept that they don't need English, they need British translation, we will stop. I can understand from the speaker's point of view that will be too...
So, please,
thank you.
Translate. I don't know this.
I think I have after recovering from yesterday, I gave my voice.
Okay. So,
and you know what I will do? I will write notes, so you can speak more chunks, and I will sit here to take notes, and I will speak more in chunks. So I know, because one of the problems with having translation is that you have to break your ideas. So no, don't worry, I will write more notes so that you don't have to.
no, it's okay. It's really better if you translate it directly. Really. Thanks a lot, but just don't worry. I think that it worked very well yesterday. Yeah, so that I make pauses and...
Sure.
So thanks a lot for the invitation. I have heard about coffee break, so I understand that you are looking forward to that. That's the main point that I'm trying to say. So I hope that for a while you will survive it.
Oh no, please, you speak, I will translate. Speak more in bigger chunks and I will translate.
Okay. So thanks a lot for the invitation. I'm really delighted to be here in this country. I'm generally interested in economic development, and I'm very glad to see the progress here in this country. So that for me is very nice experience. As was probably said, I'm an economist, so it's a little bit doesn't fit here that well in the Polytechnic University, but I hope that the story about development would be somewhat interesting for you. There's a lot, right?
Alexandre, was يمكن باسي كوفي بريك لو سكت بسهم حوالي يعني كنت بالصعوبة وباسي كنت خوشحال مع مادة من الليلة اهتمامي برزيان هي
Even though several of you visited the lecture yesterday, I would like to introduce myself and my country very shortly. So I'm from the Czech Republic, a small country in Central Europe. 10.5 million inhabitants. You possibly know Prague as the capital city. It's lovely. I'm from the second biggest town, Brno, it's here, and we arrived something like 100 kilometers more to the south. And so we are very deeply in Central Europe. Ten and a half.
Oh, I was making you do something. Sorry for that, I hope it was not an offense. دانشوانی نزیکی 10.5 میلیۆن کەسە و پراغ کاپیتاڵێتی عاصمەی وڵاتیە و ئەم بەڕێزیان لە زۆر گەورەترین شارەوەیە کە شاری برنۆیە شەرەفی بینینی برنۆ هەبوو it's a lovely city. I have been to Brno.
Yeah.
And I think they call it a university city, right?
Yeah, it's university. There are something like nearly 400,000 inhabitants and there are 65,000 students, university students.
400,000, 65,000 ale دانشجویان شاری برنۆ 400,000 6,000 فنکارن. Somebody mistaken.
So we have some photos from Prague. It is so lovely. Everybody says so. And this is from Brno. Yeah, and that's a famous thing at home here in this Vietnam. I am from, this is the famous product, it's Skoda car, actually owned by Volkswagen Group from the beginning of the 90s.
What's the brand name?
Skoda car.
Okay, I can't know the best brand. They think it's a unique car. According to Dr. Habal's testimony.
It's very based on the German parts, on the design is Czech, because the production is here. It's generally considered right now to be German quality with Czech price. Yeah, so like being with high quality but with lower price.
Oh, it's a bit overpriced?
No. That is considered right now like to have a German quality but for lower price.
Oh, that's good.
And we produce something like more than 1 million cars per year. So I suppose that Slovak has the highest, that's Czechoslovakia, the Slovaks, has the highest share of cars per one inhabitant, but we are very close behind them.
So they
If you think how many cars you produce, so then you say for number of inhabitants, so the Slovaks is the highest share.
Oh, so the Slovaks are buying this car more?
No, buying,
Producers.
They are produced per capita, they produce the highest number of cars per capita.
Oh, I see.
And Czechs are just behind them.
Ale Slovakia عادة per capita يعني طبعا بالنسبة لعدد السكان زيادة سعر لأنه سعر producer كده برنامج اللي نشاو تشيكا. طبعا في جو جناب نظام تشيك سلوفاكيا بيكولي بلاد دوي communist it became Czech and Slovakia.
Yeah, but there are two more car producers in Czech Republic, not only for the car.
Ale دو برنامج نريتي سعر هناك تنا أمجور سعر دوي تحنا
Hyundai,
Hyundai is also from Czech.
No, it's not from Czech, it's assembled.
Assembled.
Yeah, it's Korean.
Well, that's why when I said no, I'm totally confused. الله ينور هي يعني الله كنا مزعلين من زي كوريا كنا صار ليش بس يترى على تشيكاني تجمع كيف.
So I am from Assoc University. Assoc was the founder of the country when it was created from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And so he was, that's him, in 1918, and the university was founded just when the country was created.
أنا إذا كمان سنة سنة مناطقية كثير ترى داخل بلين بسكري مناطقي بسكتون الدواء إمبارة يعني أو إمبراطوريتي بس لو هنغاريا لو كانت إمبراطوريتي كبر لنمسا وهنغاريا زود يعني ظل مثلا منطقية الدواء أو يعني أكثر بلين تشيكوسلوفاكيا بس طبعا تشيكوسلوفاكيا نك تشيكوسلوفاكيا 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 دواء أمريكا جاب نوع من بدولاتي جل دواء حتى صار دواء بس يعني الله لو كانت لنا صوت جداء وداينا بلين لبرو نايز عم بكش بناي أو yeah,
but we are not technical universities, and there are some other technical universities as well.
Ale ima zankuji politechniki, politechniki bas zankuji politechniki by the way, I think it's one of the most forward-thinking universities, as I understood last time from just seeing. Sorry, I'm talking to you.
The university is very ambitious.
Yes.
So
بحس ممكن بدو كم بلين شارع تشكلت تعبوا كيزور طموح يعني يزور بيش قوي بيدي كده وطموح يزور قوي هم ممكن يساعدوا.
So we are forced to publish all the best journals, or we should try at least.
يعني باش تين بلاكرا وزورتين بلين لهي تيجي نوعا تكمل يعني.
It's possibly a bit rivalry because of course the most famous and the most well-known Czech university is the Charles University in Prague. So that Masarek would like somehow catch up with Charles.
على بلين حزكين على كل بعض المشهورين والناصرين زانكول تشيكا أو لبراغا كان شارلز.
Charles founded something like 1345.
1345.
1345.
Wow.
Like that.
هذا السياسة وتلوشتيا يعني على دروسكا.
So one of the oldest universities in Europe.
عليه كونترين زانكو كان له بعد إيه مزانكو كمان محتوى بقاطع موان يعني أو لا محتوى مزانكو عريق الفرق.
Otherwise, yeah, that's Czech Republic. As I said, then have the inhabitants. What is important? GDP per capita as a total living standard, and it's compared with Italy, higher than in Japan, actually.
Oh, okay. Better than Italy and Japan.
Compare with Italy, higher than
Compared to Italy.
yeah, higher than in Japan, higher than Spain, Portugal, Greece. So we were able to catch up.
Well, actually, you did catch up well because you came out of communist regime like in a recent history.
Yeah, in the last 30 years.
على طبعا كثير صار الكومونست رجعت يعني ربما اقتصاد يعني كيف جي دي بي بير كابيتا بزان ما دخلي فرق ويكن صار انا حسابك كيبو مسألة أبولي بزان مواطن اللي هو أبولي وبيش بتوا على شيء $6,000 بين دخلي فرد ويمكن معدل دخل حسابك الله لولا إنه عاصي مزيك إيطاليا سلو جا سلو يابان سلو إسبانيا والبرتغال يعني لما أصير صار كاتون تقدروا إنه لهذا الشيء الكومونست وأنا أنا مؤشرات اقتصادية أو أجينا كمان شيء زور إنتجري يعني أنا والله زور قوة لوي تنقلب ولا قل اقتصادي عالمية بتاعي اقتصادي يعني لبعض بازار أوروبا زور ربط يعني كانت زور connected مع بازار أوروبي.
Maybe are members of NATO or European Union.
I knew the EU, but I didn't know about the NATO.
Yeah, it's more important for us. For me, definitely. For me, the membership in NATO is more important than membership.
I would ask you later why I have that question in my mind. But أنا لا أندامي ناتو شنو يعني دقة أندامي اتحاد أوروبي الله يقولون ناتو كم مترو بسيارة كم يدخل وشي لا الله من بخون لا متر أندامي ناتو كم لا متر أندامي الاتحاد الأوروبي. بعد شيء كنت يساوي من بشي ميجو طاو بس تسكن بمحاصرة.
so you can see the enormous growth in the 19th and 20th century. Okay, so that's a miracle what happened in the last 200 years.
In the last
200 years.
Baristana bilin alanı aşağıda bahsedeyim. Playing kaşı abuniyor için ve GDP yapıyor. Playing chief lamawi şansada peşva. Bakı baristana bilin lamawi 200 salı peşva. Ştiki ala interesting uya. Ştiki servet peşva. Sonra kesede kaçana işte o nozda o bisir.
But these are the world numbers. Yeah, that's a whole world, not the whole world.
Oh, so this is not for the chef.
No, 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 it's whole world.
For the whole. أمريكا بشانية بوتشيكية مثلا يعني هم عالمة يعني بشانية كشيء أبوريه لهم عالمة أنا ما أعرف صار بيشوا كم سنة ويا يعني بكون يعني بقولين قران كاري في جورا ويا يعني هم عالمة يعني أبوهم عالمة.
But you understand that there are differences, of course. So you will be like supporting more different. I'm worried that they will fast.
We have experience. They were. Yeah, there's some خيال لكن هو ما نقدر نتناقض من الأسماء ما نخيال.
So that it's older. It's not new enough. It's a photo, but.
Sorry, they just asked for that.
Yeah, I understand.
So that they see. So you mentioned that there is difference and also something else. Sorry, I forgot.
I just wanted to say that this is it's old. There you can see the old TV set, etc. But this is a typical family in UK, and you could see the GDP per capita, life expectancy, and literacy rate. Yes. So, difficult to find the street.
Yes, I took that. طبعا أنا بس كنت يوم فرقة لو فرق يدوس صالح بس كده قران يعني بعض الفرق بين قران بس كل من ليك بريطانيا كارتا بين الجي بي كارتا هي تقريبا ثمن طبعا طبعا مو بس معدلي ثمن كاش معدلي ثمن دوري هي سوي كمواطن مش مثلا تجريه مثلا صحي مشتعل مؤشره او بالنسبه لي بلين تعليم او مؤشره انا ما ما بلين بريطانيا اوائل.
That's a typical family in Mexico.
Mexico كبار السنويين شونية كانت
Oh, expectancy 75 years.
75?
5 years. Years and all.
Yes.
Yes. Check.
Oh, okay, sorry. Good to know. But then the GDP is 20,000 for them.
Yeah, that's a per capita.
Per
So
capita.
that's the living standard. Yeah, so you can see that in UK was 48.
In Mexico it's almost half.
Is half. And in Mali is.
Oh my God.
And that's still the family, and that's still the that's typical family in Mali.
So if you mind going back to Mexico to see the life expectancy, 75 is less than UK, and then this is 59. فرض على بالنا هو بسيرش جرام شانيا فرق بين مالي ومكسيكو بريطانيا كوكو برس على من بريطانيا هم جي دي بي هم برسل هم ثمن هم مثل الشقاية مكسيكو وأباوين قوار أو نيوي بريطانيا مالي حد ناتشو تناوش خطاب لك 2500 يعني دخل 2500 دولار صالي ليش أول كلام وعدل دخل وين كان جي دي بي كان
And you could see the literacy rate.
ونعين النقاشات هذا جماعة كلها مثلا and what was the literacy rate in Mexico? Oh, 94, still high, but in UK is 99. وبين برزان تقريبا طيب علاقيه أو علاقيه في مسلم نعم بيشوا عكسي بيشوا أنا راس تستعمل علاقيه راس أنا هي سيرتي حتى نسبة خردن بس كمان كان نقول جي بي كذا سيرتي مالي يعني تجاوز صعب على expectancy نسبة تعليم أساسي كجنس وكذا.
Yeah, and that's not the one. There are countries that have $1,400 per year per person.
والأخلاق في شيء مثل الله تابلين دخلك 400 و 500.
400 or 1,000.
والله بعطي الله في شيء جي دي بي كي مثلا دخلي فرد معدل دخلي فرد سيركي $600 $1,000 يعني الله لو اشتغلت هيك
According to this statistic, Iraq has something like $12,000 per person.
احصائيات العراق 12000 بلين كيني هي بلين داخل معدل دخل 12000 يعني طبعا بزمان يكون على الدفتر بيزبرها يعني يقول نوعها and life expectancy
I don't know. You should know.
well, that should tell you how much we don't do data research and stuff.
So I don't know, yeah, but Kurdistan is the most developed part of Iraq, so I believe that the GDP per capita is much higher than 12,000.
والله بلين ملاحظة بدون بلين ستريت يعني بسام باشر اللبنان تصور كم معدل دخل زيادة بين $1,000.
And when I speak with the people in here, they usually complain a lot about the state of situation here. Yeah, but unfortunately, we really much worse than it's here. And that it's in fact nicely functioning here.
والله كيف يقول خلق يقول لازم مبادئ بيوني داري والله صور لكن هي يعني لبالي أول وضع اقتصادي والله طبعا ليه وصور خراب في يعني مرة جنابي قلنا الله لو هو قارنك باش خراب كان الله يعني هي أنا كداخل كبني وبركاني الله يعني وصل زور بعشرة شو يعني سيستمك تعمل أي شكل لو أنا قارنت متفق معك راسك بس ويجي من ما نشتي كده مثلا اقتصاديا.
Even though I understand the criticism, I understand the feelings here, but unfortunately there are really billions of people who are living in much worse conditions than ordinary
In your case, do you think that has to do with perceived reality or real reality? I mean, do you think that's maybe because people, they say it's economy, but maybe it's something else and that's how they think?
I would like to talk about what I think that is behind. What is behind the growth? Why there are such differences, if you ask me about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should be about that.
Oh, no, of course, no. I would hold it for later than my question. But my point was sometimes it has to do with more the reason people are, in my opinion, it has, I always, and I was just actually explaining to some degree, I agree with you that its economy here is much better. But what's happening is it has to do with justice and social justice. It's not equally distributed, and that's what creates the problem here. And I think that's what you want. It's perceived reality, not the real reality. Okay, we will hold that debate.
Okay, it is everywhere. Okay, see that from. Okay, I understand that you must disagree with me. Yeah, and but I traveled quite a lot. There I was in India, for example, and I can compare it. Yeah, so I know that it's really not so bad here as unfortunate that the people.
No, of course. But بس نقول من وجوما بس نقول ترى دي متفق معك البارسة بس راسك كيف تصورك مشكلة كلا يقوم على الاقتصاد يعني مشكلة خلاقي توزيع بني دخلها أو أنا عدالة كوموات تشتكي هي وتي تيجم رأمان جواز بيلا زان ليه تيجم دكتور قرر جواز بس مشتي نزور قرار شيء نزور خلاف البني ويعني تيجي خرافة باشي خرافة كان الله هنا الله مثلا هندستان وضع يزور خرافة لدينا حتى على يعني كم من الأمر social justice actually the most expensive apartment in the world is in I think Delhi or another city I forgot the name.
I think that right now they publish that Tel Aviv is in Israel is the most expensive town in the world.
Where?
Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv, yeah. No, I mean there was one particular like it sounded like apartment's a house. It's the most expensive in India, but it is outlook like it looks over a slum. Literally, يعني فرضاً كانت جرافين كانوا يا لا ما يا لا كبير من هذه الصوت كان أنا.
Still, India is reasonable country. Yeah? It's a country that GDP per capita I don't know $6,000 per year. And so just imagine the life situation when you have $1,000 per year. Yeah. We can't imagine that. As I can't and you can't as well.
أنا تصور الإنسان صار هو شو باشتري شو شزارة يعني دخل يعني تصور إن العلاقة زيادة الله بس سيرك الولايات اللي وش خراب $1,000 هذا خراب قارنا ما ركاب باشي خراب I'm saying let me just explain I said Zidek is very fast we have a saying we say the better of the worst so
by so-called extensive factors or intensive factors.
بدون فاكتور متأثرة يعني دوش تأثير فيها extensive and intensive.
The extensive ones means that.
Extensive يعني مكثفة because أصلا كده استشعر إن الولي أبيها بس.
That if you put more people, more capital, and more land into the system, you will produce more.
The system is extensive. كبلين ولا كمان بلين ولا مكثفة بعربي ولا مكثفة إنها زمان. أما بس أول كإنسان ككابيتال يعني مدخل يعني يبارو كابيتال سرماية يا عجز يا مواد بيئوي كبيرة سرشاوي سبشتي زيادة كيف أنه السيستم كويس السيستم كزور مش عامل كابر أو كاتا زيادة يعني بيتبه كشيء إكسترس كزيادة.
Or at least you should. Yeah? But if we are better using the sources that we have, that's the intensive growth.
Intensive growth. And I think there is a good book that might speak about this called after that fever that I had a few days ago from the third dose. I think I am not remembering because until yesterday I was hallucinating. So I'm just trying to remember an interesting book. It's Why Nations Fail.
Okay.
Have you read that book?
Yeah, I know about that. I haven't read it.
It's a bestseller, but basically it talks about how it compares countries in terms of the growth. And South Korea is one of the case studies in that book. That speaks about how sometimes it's not a matter of good geography or something. They used to say that, but no, it's about a system, an institution.
And that's what I would like to
Yes.
talk about.
بارزان باسی ئەوەی کرد بەڵێزان بەڵام لە ئینتێنسیڤ گرۆتە کە ترانسێکی کوردێکی نازانم عەرەبیەکەشی نازانم بەس تێکەم یان گەشتە ئەکستێنسیڤ یعنی مکەسەر ئەوەیان ئێوەشیان چۆنە بێتکی والحاصل تعبیری فەرقی بین تعبیری ئینگلیزیە یان بەڵێزەرەوە ئینتێنسیڤیش خۆی لای خۆمان ئەگەر تەرجمەی هەرشەوە بەس بە معنای ئینگلیزی جیاوازە ڕاستێکی یعنی ها بڵێن ئینتێنسیڤ یەکێکیان یعنی ها ئوفوقیە یەکێکیان يعني vertical. I was just wondering between extensive and intensive included have the same word for what, but most of them just put a clarification of that. It's like, you know, in terms of scope, like, you know, the scope is like
okay. The first means that you put more into the system, the second is that you use it
more efficiently.
Yes.
For example, system يدوني أبوي بس يوي يبغين توكا اتصالك كشأكا كيسمون يشتي زور ترحبه. أما بوقت شو كان زور بينوسه. ويقول شو أو سرچا وشتانه باش مكاني. جامن ملاحظة ما صار كثير كاتينا وبيش كل ما توناي why nations fail بوقت كان فشلنا يعني. The prospect of poverty وخلاص عشان كشي لقوا على بيرنا صار. بس هنا يعني أو أكاد كيس كده كيس كان شيء باش كل يوم شو لا. بس يواجه على اقتصاد كوني ثمانية كونا لا شيء فيش ولا بس جغرافيا كنا هو اقتصاد جغرافي فيش كذا أو كتير كيس يعني طلع طلعية بني سيستم مؤسسات ولا فيش كان ولا فيها حتى كم شابتري سيكر كلا سو بوزيت سو دفر بس كتاب بين أمريكا ومكسيكو كان ولا يخت يعني بين طبعا سيكر شو نش خلك بين الراجع ولا خلك كم شونيا بس يواجه خلاص.
So you can measure it by this total factor productivity, and I could show you here. And that in these cases, for example, and there is the additional capital, additional labor, and this is the total factor productivity. So you can see how important it was in the economic growth.
يعني بس intensive growth لشيء intensive أنا تركيز هذا السر تركيز هذا السر وده إنتاج ما هو نيتشان كسيستم مجال عشان هم إنتاج أنا كذا أنا تاسين كنا بقشة أنا أقول أكيد بس سامسون ها emerging Asia ها آسيا أساسا اقتصادي بتقول ده ها كشكل تنا إذا ده روانه بس هي كشكل أبويا في كذا لأن هو كش أبويا بشي زوري إلى في تشيء ويا با productivity برحمة مثلا كوني كان الشخص كان سرماية كان عارس ومكي سرشاو بناس مكان مثلا كان نتيجة يعني كان برحمة هي
This is a different chart, and you can see that I'm from the transition countries, and you can see that the total growth was based on better using of the sources that we have. There's some of the growth always different views, but there are more or less agreement about several aspects that I would like to concentrate.
خلاص يعني الله من يعني المحاضرة كان وقت الكيسة فات السنة فشيء هو إنه الشكل أو أمريكا يمكن سوي احتمال كان السنوي إلى عقيب هون يبواتي دورية سرشاو بيلا سرشاو يبغى أول بواتاني كذا أتواني شون باش بكاري اللي سرشاو كان تركيز يصير إنه على شيء فرموا أصلا. أطلع لك بس يعني هي فرموا.
ليش هو مصير؟ أنا حاب الدنيا السيستمي إدارة
بس أطلع سؤال. He's talking about, he says, well, it depends on the administration system and how you utilize those resources. And I was just saying, well, this is the focus of your talk today, is to convince us, is to argue that it's not about the amount of resources we have, it's what you think, and I agree with you that we have far more enough resources, but it's just not how to utilize them. That's what that book is arguing about. The role of institutions and systems.
Exactly. I'm generally worried that being a country with a lot of resources is not good for country.
Well, that's interesting to know. But Allah sana لو يعني هذا كان عندك خلق يشوف قصة كم زود بني سرچاو يعني ما تينا على الشيء هنا. بس هو كيس يعني فرضاً لسبورتر يعني بعمل تشجيعي intensive growth يعني كشيء أبغى السوشيال intensive. شو التوسع شوي حتى بكالي نقوي هربلي زوريكا. In fact, in other things, there are proofs that more in architecture, one of schools says less is more. That's kind of.
We don't have any raw materials in practice, and we are quite rich.
الله إما raw material ما نيجي سشاوي سوشي ما نيجي معنا زور الله بالانسير اقتصاد ما نقدر باشا جابر سانتي تركيزي أمر طلع جا أسا بريزي بس يوانا يعني أمر الحاضرة كي يصير خالي كبريز لكل مجانا أيبي سلمينك مثلا كوني كم سشاوي مثلا سيستمي برسلو مؤسسات يقولوا سيستم إداري مرة بالنهاية بريز يعني جابر لأنه رأي جواسي هو مش كتير برا كاحد يكزور رازي يقول يا لا رازي يقول هي لسه كم بابا ثاني أمانة الدنيا هي لسه بشكل كذا تكنولوجي.
Yeah, I will talk about it. I just would like to add something. My students often think that having, say, oil is a good thing. First of all.
And I think there's a trouble.
Yeah. But then I ask them, okay, in which of these countries you would like to live? Saudi Arabia, Russia, Venezuela, Iran, in which of them? Yeah, and they say in none of them, and possibly in Norway. Yeah, but the government must be.
You know, he's right, and I.
Yeah, only country like Norway with very adult, reasonable government is able to deal with resources in a good way. Otherwise, I'm worried that the governments are not using resources.
In fact, thank you very much. That's a very interesting way to argue for this case. أريد أن أقول هذا كم شيء كي إضافة تيجي بشيء وخوانه. ممكن لا يمشي كنا نفهم كاركانا. أظن أصلاً أنا من عادة كنا نفهم كاركانا بس نشوف واقع باشا ولا يعني أقول لك سأل واقع بلاين هي أنا نوتيه. الله كتير جانلي أنا بس محزن كي يتكلم بيجي للسعودية بيجي لإيران بيجي لفنزويلا بيجي لا نرويج نرويج مشهورة وكان نوتيه مثلا طبعاً حبتي كي باشيتي نرويج تعرفي كيف كذا كيس الشاذة كان يناوي طبعاً وما بينا كجابين وعند خلق راك على مواطنة يكفيش تبيج كذا نرويج وانت يعني بقولي أوكي سكة كذا كان يعني بوي توضيحي أو خالك عم مسألة كونية إنه تسرشاوي سوشي هذا مسألة كوي خوش بزرانية سكي زوجي راك أبوه تكاني ترى الله بقى تنها أكيد سنرويج أكا سيستمي كي ريزنبل معقول هي توانية كي تسرشاوي نوتي كي باش بكار يعني هنا يتر نوني وين يعني بيسني توانية
I'm worried that the oil could be obstacle of economic growth.
الله هسه كم يعني من قلتهم الله هسه كم أصلاً نوت عائقة بكشيء. I completely agree with you because I have something. It kind of gives you a short-term sight. It doesn't allow you to plan for long-term, and I see it as something that it's not to compare in exactly like how you are becoming a rich president.
It's okay.
Yeah, well, I will argue later. I will tell you some research from economists as well, because I have read them. بس يوم أنا كده بلاتي يعني مناقشة كده سنة وبقولي أصلاً هسه كان بعرف إنه عارف إنه وعد ولا مشكلة كل وياه أو مجتمع فيه انطباع كاك هسه هم مشتاق فوراي بيو والله هم مشتاق بأسان بيتردمن من بعد سبب الموقع شوفاني كي بكم خالك تاوكم الله يقول لك شوفاني كي بكم وفرق نامي دولمان ونامي فقير كراسي ده بس يشاف زور السنة جاري واحد الله مشكلة كلا شيء والله نامي فقير بعام سنة والله مثلا نكلم فقير الدخل متوسط وعلى عادة والله يبرق كرسي جانبي تخرج كاي نبي محتمل احتمال يسوي زيادة سكيل الحياة زيادة ضمن برامنالي ضمن مالك كجري واحد عائلة جزء جينا بيت جولا بيت هيش شيء سكيل كيمياء جاونا خبر عائلة شغالة يعني حتى أخوي جيني قبل تشويه كابين جري واحد أو مريضة وصديق Well, we have a challenge for you, and you are in the right position to answer. You might see it as a conspiracy or not, but it would be nice to address it. So Mama Saad here is saying, okay, well, you compare between Norway and other countries, but what do you think that one of the reasons that these other oil-based countries are not doing well, because normally the word that's happening here, they say that Westerners are having an eye on the oil-rich countries, and they want to exploit their resources and their income. So as a result, they take those energy to themselves. What's your reading? Sorry, I know it's a rather blunt comment to be directed, but what do you think about this conspiracy?
The United States are the biggest producer of oil.
Well, that's what I always argue. ولايات بتوكاني أمريكا جولتين مصدرين يعني قالوا لنا إنه تجيزني يطلع لنا طبعا هو راس فاكتة يعني برميناري جولتين برميناري.
But you could see Russia. The economic system is totally spoiled.
على بعض مساجد روسيا بسيط كم لاحظة كي سيستم أبويا مقاطي ولا spoiled يعني.
Oligarchic system. The
she was to reinforce your point about that how oil is becoming an obstacle. She mentioned about an article that she recently read based on a research that they said that even within the region, the countries that have oil, like Iraq and Saudi Arabia, their people tend to be more lazier and not smart. In a sense, when we say because they don't cultivate those, like they don't think that, like you mentioned about, they think, oh, everything should be free, why I should bother. And I told her that, in fact, in my own experience comparing students from different countries, and I travel a lot too, I noticed that it would be interesting to now a research to have data that is proving that. She was saying even an example about how, for example, Syrian now who are in Germany, because even Lebanese people, how they are smart in banking skills and some other thing because they have to rely on themselves, not as Iraq, for example, where you have to have a system. In fact, a few years ago, I was still in Canada when they they published a research, something, I don't know which country did it, and I'm still looking for it, but I don't find that I remember it became a headline, that they said Iraq is among the, is in fact the #1 laziest country in terms of working hours of institutions, like I mean, public working hours. And I remember at the time, Louis Maliki was the prime minister. He was annoyed by, well, how can you say this? I say, okay, we are just saying it based on fact and number. Your working hours in government, working hours is so short, it's very clear that's kind of, it leads to that kind of thing. So, and also she was arguing one of the biggest problem for us is actually the lack of institutions and systems.
That I would like to get to. Otherwise, I would never dare to speak about that some people are clever or smart.
We say it because we are not, that's not to say genetically, but the system encourage hardworking versus not.
I don't
ask you that. جواتي بس يوقع إن شاء الله زاف عندك لو لا أنا بس متفقة من كم مؤسسات ثانية أنا بس ليه مؤدبية اللي أنا والله
I'm not expert on Middle East, of course, even though I'm highly interested in the region. But I'm worried that there are much bigger troubles than some intervention of big powers. That there are internal problems in the societies that are much more important for the economic situation than some intervention of, I don't know.
فرز يعني الله يعمل راسكي راسك جرأت النيرلان طبعا لا زيك ولا طبعا طبعا نعم مسألة European in English they call that political correctness but ودي شيء عن بكام سبور من الشكل وسطها زيادة بس أقدر أن نبيش الله طبعا راسكي واقع كي من برد من كيشنا ويا كان زور زيادة لنوي كبسر ودي لا يعني كدار كي واقع مثلا إما كشيء حقد من صلصة متفقة ولا
So, okay, what is behind the intensive factors? First was Norwegian technologies. I suppose that it's understandable. I try to little bit speed it up because of the discussions. Yeah, so just summarize it that there are Norwegian technologies as the source of the intensive growth.
Knowledge and technologies, which is represented in patents and government support of research.
There's a question mark there. Yeah, so how much the government is really able to help the research and development.
بعد ذلك يستعملوا التسريع الكربوني زيادة كربون مناقشة وشداني بس في الله يمكن لو أو فاكر عن كالجيان هي مثل intensive growth أو يكباسي كده أو تشوف الموديل كبار ذلك شيء كده زاني المعرفة وتكنولوجيا جماعة التكنولوجي كلمة ما لك تسبب فاكنا ويا كان اختراع البراءة اختراع شوية داريناني تواصل تشوف له وتبقى ويا شيء حكومة كهاي ما دينا وتجيهم كرديان الله يطول السيارة ولا لا يمكن نظام نظام هو يمكن نظام السيارة.
The other thing is human capital, but views of education varies quite a lot. Yeah, so sometimes some research says that only the basic education is important, and sometimes something more. And so even the education or higher education is not so strictly connected with intensive growth.
Okay. برز عم بس يلاقى فاكتور في كل شيء human capital يعني اللي ساتشاي مروي كأي شيء كم يعني شيء لين تعليم يعني أصلي كلامي الله طبعا لو شو مناقشة بس يلا حتى خلني بدأ basic education actually basic education refer to university first university or just high school.
Yeah, some research says that only some that children didn't have basic education, they had, I don't know, 2 more years of so trade leads to specialization, division of labor, and then there is an export-led growth that Korea, Japan, or the Czech Republic are the cases.
Sorry. So another one is trade.
Next item.
فرضاً هنا في three trade يعني تجارة كشيء يجتو specialization مختصون. أصلي hyper specialization فرضاً زور مثلاً بازاري مزور مختصة. لكن division of labor تقسيم مثلاً كيسيكار and export-led growth يعني كشكلني يابو كاحتمال كان السد تصدير.
Means that you will see in the case of Japan or Korea that the countries were growing because they were exporting.
Oh, sorry. Which country?
Japan and Korea that I will talk in the second half, yeah, or the Czech Republic is the case that we are growing because we are exporting.
For example, أو تيجي كجونير جناي بس كتشي قوات شيء كل بوي أمور باسي كيا يابان كوريا نموني أول كسر أو نموني كشكلن كسر أساسي تصدير تماما.
And then there is the economic policy, so the active role of the government. And again, you will see in the case of Japan that the government was very active, but I think that it was depend on something else.
For example, جالك هو يبغى شيء policy، هو الحكومة لو كمان بيجي حكومة مثلا لا policy دانانا، كأولا لو يابان كذا بس كا يجي كذا.
So the opinions again varies if the government should be active or not, but I am sure that what the government really should do is that it should avoid these troubles like high debt, price regulation, unrealistic exchange rate, high inflation, so that the government should keep macroeconomic situation reasonable.
طبعاً في شيء دراسة نبغى بس على ما إجازة شون policy progress داني، طبعاً اشتيك هي أطواني بقى اشتيك كتير يعني كي knowledge بس يفضل مش تاني تجنبها يعني بقول بشيء يعني الpolicy أنا كتير هاي ديت يعني كل سنة ديت سياسة كل سنة ديت كستين كام حكومة هذا سنة كام حسابين كل النتيجة مرزانة ديت price regulation كلا لا يكون فضيحة يا بعضي كتير هيك كيني كشكاني دامنا وزاري وزاري كده كتير ولا ودي ضل أو نبي باري سنة ولا سنة الله كلنا ولا price regulation يعني كأولا حد يحكم ده ولا كذا مايكرو يعني أسيزن تداخلي لاقتصاد على حد مايكرو يدخل كنترول يعني تداخلي مش ينكا. I was just arguing that we have extensive price regulation. According that even you have ministerial order that regulates how one of those, for example, sometimes tourist areas, where how much they charge someone to.
I will speak more sorry about electricity. Yeah. So the public price of electricity is 1/3 of the private price. And so it means that if there is a normal price, it would be the private price probably. So the government subsidizes the price of electricity, and then you have it only for half of the day.
Yes.
That's the regulation.
على بس مشتين على regulation مني كهرباء يعني على كهرباء يطلع منهم نزال دوبي على لسرسين كهرباء حكومي لين تاريخ كهرباء حكومي لسرسين تاريخ كنا على سيري وايد كل برامج شيء نورمال هذا يعني نورمال حكومة تعمير subsidize أو يعني تاريخ يعني لازم لا يكيد روش كده بواني روشة ولكن يعني كدراسات اقتصادية في كهرباء طبيعية كان هنا كده دوي مولدة كان بيه على بلانسية حكومة سعيد يبودانا وكل كده لو بس هو البوني وين روشة كهذا طبيعي يعني لا شيء أجر حكومة خرابة بحالة طبيعية حساب كاو طبعا تشريح كابي تشاكا ويما I was just saying maybe the government needs to fix something else for people's perception to be willing to pay that kind of money. But I completely agree with you on that. الله أجر واقع سيكون كذا طاني زيادة حد حكومة يكون طالب يعني وش مثلا ما ينوع بس سكت معناه سكت أو يعني شو كتبوا تاريخ ناو كذا وش النتيجة كان بيشتغل.
So you know, if to
L'esercizio pare che non li deve cani, perché poi che di titolo in tasca di pacca non è piacere, poi voi carabava non è piacere, che حكومة pare che كبكر زور كم في الدار تبي نشوف يكترون باران درهني وني هذه لك شو تعمل زي كذا بو نوع هو sustainable meal. That's not sustainable way of managing this.
It's just based.
Yes, I remember the case of Qatar anyway. They said it's the government, paying so much in it, and that's not a sustainable way of
And people don't know what's the true price, so then they base the electricity. If it's triple the price, people would consider it. Yeah, they would.
Yeah, oh, thank you very much. That's a great point. But أنا أشوف أجل سعر حقيقي كهرباء نزاني كواقع كأوية لو أشين زيكتر بي لو أشين كيف ما دايش رقم ورق وقلم بيني حسابي كهرباء بكين شني بيجتا إنتاجك في وتاجات لا كعادة لو أشين رقم كله وين مولي كان زيكتر بي الله بهوي أجل وا أو نو كي يكاد هو اللي كان سعري حقيقي من بلين كهرباء نزاني النتيجة زيادة صرفك يعني صرفكينه بهدلني يعني الله أو يعني أوي لا محتاج كان كده سيكولوجي.
Or here I would say that the government should not definitely destabilize the banking sector as happened here. Yeah, so that it didn't allow to withdraw more than $400 or however much it was. Yeah, so it destabilized, it decreased the trust in the banking system. It's a disaster.
Yeah, no. So you may laugh, but I don't know that. Is that something that they don't allow to?
They should not do it. The government should prevent.
No, I know, but my question you mentioned about 400 is that?
I suppose that it was here that the government didn't allow you to withdraw more than $400 per month.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then that should tell me we don't have on our daily basis we don't use banks.
Yeah, you don't use the banks because of this.
Yes.
You don't use the banks because you don't trust them.
Yeah, do you know
and
what?
Because the government cut the trust into the banking
Yes,
system.
and do you know why? Because we had money in banks where the bank got bankrupt and then they didn't pay you back.
That's it what I told
Yeah,
you.
no, you're absolutely right.
Yes, so that's what the government should prevent.
Yes, عليه كي لو شارك حكومة داري تداخلي سيستمي بانكا بدنا عن كلام بود مسكالة وزامنين الريجوليشن كم يكمل جالس زامن فزامن هي لما نكا.
أو كذا بوكا ونم شريط عشان كيابو داري محاور سكان دبان وأنا زور أو كذا دبان يعني وكنت أنا عبد الإسكان يعني
إيه ثواني.
هذا ما هو تي.
بس فرق وزي كذا. Okay, let me explain why that. Actually, that's no longer valid, that regulation.
Okay.
But our banking system has a lot of trouble, I agree. But you see, that's what during the ISIS and the economy fall down, because the banks didn't have any money.
I understand it, but if the government says you can't withdraw more than something.
Yeah, but they say that was periodical, but
Okay.
we have other problems.
Yeah,
And this has been even
I
before that.
understand it. Yes, my point is the trust in the banking system. Because in the market economies, the banks are in the very core, in the very center of the well-functioning market economy.
بانك زور دولية، فبارز عم تصورنا كان كل مشاكل خلق هي دي لسه تحويل بانكي وطمع قادر لكن دروات في شكل. We in fact when we interact with our funders, you cannot imagine how much trouble we have in the banking system here in Iraq. And that's all because of lack of trust, and that's affecting the way we do things. cannot get more than 1 million in 24 hours. And then the next day you can do it. She was saying that's to teach, to train people to save. That's the logic behind it. But, and then she mentioned, we have other problems. That she was mentioning about a case where a company was trying to transfer their money to Jordan, but in Jordan, the bank in Jordan was not interested. They said we need more proof of registration of that company and thing. And we argued that it's not for money laundering and also terrorist, ISIS kind of thing. That's additional layer of bureaucracy when it comes to Iraqi banks. Did you mention anything?
I understand that there are many troubles in the banking system. Yeah.
And she mentioned about trouble in other countries. In UK, she mentioned about the case that after COVID, some problems happened, some got money, but then withdrawn, no one was. And I say, but in Iraq, we are much even lower in that case. Yes. And so, يعني كمباريزر ايش جناب محمد
والله نسأله سيستاذ قوتي بينه الثقة دروس بين الثقة يعني لو معتز يعني زوري معه شو زور مكاريك لو الثقة دروس نعم
ايش بصير
طبعا لكن مش انه ولا ما عبولية يمكن وادي أمريكا لكن لو هذا من هذا الشغل تاع تخيل يقوم واقف على كل بعض ما بنا هو يقول سقط راح يشاو على كل هو من يتوجه
بس يعرف ان شاء الله اصلا بس كيف بس حكومتي كيف بس تشتكي كده وبينها هيك قالنا كم دولة هو بيزل الشيء هناك صار شيء سايكولوجي خلاص خلي ما له سيستم بعد اكيد هو فرض تجربه حاجه يعني بعرف طبعا هو بس معه بعرف هذا بنك so you were just arguing about at least to add to the problem you were saying you think the problem is also economy sometimes or security reasons basically tying the whole speaking to the bigger picture problem of the Iraq situation, saying during when that happened, that they put that legislation where it said not withdraw more than 400, a guy who has put money in the bank to pay for his son's education abroad, I think. Is that all? Sorry, basically he was trying to pay for his son here. He couldn't withdraw the money because of that regulation in that period. And how come that doesn't affect his trust in the bank system? He couldn't withdraw his own money.
Let's say that generally the trouble is that there is a mistrust in the banking system. are codified. That's the legal system. Yeah? And then there are the informal institutions. How the society really works. What are the values? What are, how, yeah? Okay, give you a few examples. Please do the translation.
زاوية خالد زور قريب بس كان تقريبا يجي لك وسهل مالي وتعرف بس مؤسسات اللي يصيروا ما شاء الله هذا وديا بس برزي في ناسك مؤسسات سيستمي يشكلني كوروجا بس هم بس اللي يبغوا يجي كان لو أنا بلش مؤسسات هنا كان مؤسسات كانت بلين كجاري واحد رخاء كان مثلا بقول من السنترال بانك أو أنا كجاري فورمال رسمية انفورمال طبعا لو وش خالد يجيك بس كان بهاي فورمالاتي إيش تأثير مثلا المؤسسات المجتمعات شيء بهاي أو فورمالات شيء وش بشكل برد نجاوب المناهج هم.
A formal institution could be, for example, that we cannot, must not cross the street on red light. As a pedestrian, the formal rule is that we must not cross the street on the red light. Yeah. At home, I ask who cross it, and I am one among them. Yeah. But it's something uncomparable with situation here.
Yes.
You don't normally respect that. Yeah, there is, I mean, pedestrian.
In fact, if you respect the laws, you might get into trouble, honestly. The other day, I was thinking about that because I just came back, I was driving outside in Canada, and then came back, went back to the street. There I had to reread the rules, and when I came back here, now I apply the rules, everyone wrong for me, because I'm following speed limit and stuff.
Yeah, so the formal rule is that that was the legal system, that we must not do it. The informal rule is how the society really works. What that we cross it. We cross it sometimes, it seems that you cross it always.
بس يا كذا وي قارنة كذا سبب كذا فورمال انفورمال كذا بعد كنت كذا مؤسسات وكوي فورمال كذا تقدرها اشتغل مكان حكومي كان قانون كان لا الله كل مناسبة الله لا أنا رسمية كأويا كتوك ترافيك لايت سود بولا تيفا وانيا الله كل لك ناري كم شن هنديجات طبعا فكرة كلمة كان أكيد الله يبغى يجي لي هو رجل كان هنديجات أكيد لا بس كتشت يعني يقولين ها أوي ليس راسك كاتو يعني يقولين تحمل منظور أصلا لا شيء كذي يقولين يا لستيكتيكا ين هم بدوي يعني غالي زوجي هم أظن نخيل شلون اليوم شكل يقولين بيقولين دستة جمعي اتفاقي دستة جمعي هي وعساية in law they say there is عرف بالإنجليزي جامعي بالكريدو norm versus law in law that's how it's described. There is something called, it says something could be legal but not norm, or something could be norm but not legal. For example, going to someone's funeral, that's example that reminded me of customs.
Custom is good word.
Yes, custom. So basically you are saying that's not, it's not, they don't get into, they don't put you in jail if you don't go to a funeral, but the society's values, that's,
Yeah, it could be something like that.
ولا قانونها أو كاتب بدخل إلى القانون مناقشة يعني شت هي قانونية شت هي لقوا ركش مع اللي يقولك بيقول في المانا شت هي قانونية بيجي بس شت هي عرفة يعني يقول يعني بنيكي خبناي طبعا نعرف مثلا شو هو تعزية لا يمزور عنده يعرف كذا هاي ما عنده يصير خارج شكاني قانون عنده يعني شايف سير تكن يعني ترى وصفوا طريقة أو يعني هذا يوانو قوية سيرك أو توزي قابلين للمجتمع عليك إيش تقولين بهاي أطعمهم بهاي فورمال informal يعني زيادة لفورمال. I was saying maybe I think the gap between formal and formal in some developed countries is less than what we have here. And I think that's the case.
Look, brother of my friend crossed the street on red light. His neighbor saw him, and she said that he should go to police and inform them that he crossed the street on red
In fact, you mentioned that. I gave an example on that just. I said here, if you find a neighbor or a relative or a friend
protection of ownership rights. That's the very crucial thing in the market economy, protection of ownership rights. And then, of course, there is the functioning, judicial system means, is it fair, or is it somehow biased, or not? And then political stability.
Not necessarily democracy. I think that's what you is sometimes talking about now. We shouldn't have maybe removed Saddam, even though as Kurdish we have seen a lot of bad things from them, just when they see the chaos that's happening in Iraq. But I mean, that's what you mean by not necessarily
I
democracy.
mean that China is growing a lot.
Or Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia,
Yes.
I have doubts, but China definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the point. Yeah, but of course I am totally like for democracy.
No, I understand.
Even in your style that you are dissatisfied with that, I do believe that is much better than Saddam.
No, I argue that with my profs in Canada. فرزان بس يلا على كل ما institution يعني مؤسساتي رسمية ومؤسساتي نحاول كوتي كمال جاكا هم بسريكا وبشكل نا رسمية كم بخلط شو نحاول على لهم سيستم رسمية بس سواسي سيستم رسمية كأن كاكا كل المؤسسات الرسمية وجات رسمية قانونية كسيستمي قانوني فارزقاري لمالتي كاونداريتي كلاية مكاريسي in fact on that protection of owner right we have a big problem. I have heard many people they say I don't dare to submit my ID or my article somewhere or even my ID discuss it with because that someone steal it and then they don't even cite me or anything like that. يعني ما في حاول داري في راسي ما كنت شنجار يوم نشان مرة زي كوا في نهاية فكرة كم مناقشة كم البشرة كيا article كم ديرن أنا فكرة كم يعني بدرت. جاباس الشيء السيستم شون أو السيستم قانوني إشكاع انحيازي هي يعني جراسي political instability كمان شو تبين الجوري مثلا طبعا لتشجيع كتير حمد وقمنا لو قرأت شو نتفق بولي استقرار سياسي واقتصاد زور من براسي بين العالم وشخصي قوم أو اشتغل أنا بدي بس يصدق أكن هي رجع لي في شخصي من أنا برينا أو أجابي صاحب قرار يكون نشيل كوب ساعة راسا وين يمكن الديمقراطية فقهانية سياسية بس طبعا اولا نفهم تفصيل ديمقراطيه طبعا اجتو لبين هكذا سلمى او شناني استقرار سياسي ثانيه نقلني بشيء امريكا هو فاكتوري مثلا سيستم باقنا مستقر سيستم ترجع كراونا مستقر سيستم اجتماعي سيستم مثلا تدوري لولانا من شنجارة بيتم بباسي وكراو من خم جمله ولا شن هكذا لما مصر كان امريكا ولا شيء أجنو كارب أجنو وشينه كصدام يعبدو الله يعني أبو يعني هو يتدخل لنا السودان في الحرب بالمناسبة يعني بشار لنا بلا. In fact, the reason that Syria was not like Bashar Assad was not over somewhat Iraqi experience and some others in the Egypt as well. How it became destabilized after, so they would rather have a stable dictator than a.
That's definitely not good for economic growth.
No, of course I know, but I mean what I was just saying.
Yeah.
Between the two words, Christina, I was just arguing about basically how they see it from political point of view. يعني يعني شو قلنا استقرار الكندوس وبرد يعني الله طبعا الدكتاتوري كيفاجي والسيستم الاقتصادي مش طبعا طبعا في كلمة ملاحظات بدو يعني استقرار كم تلو كيف شكل زيادة وده هو شبابي نوع طويل شو هذا كيف وجهه سبب أساسي.
Just a measure of causality. I don't want to say that the dictatorship is good for growth, but that sometimes the dictatorship could be good for growth. Yeah, that was the only.
Ale zamin nalem, ale causality ha ilaqi ha agregated America. Ale ale causality ale tachen ha ilaqi بين بيلانشي ها أملا ربطي أملا والله من نالم dictatorship باش طبعا زوجات سلمى ولا تجينا كنا سيركي أو بولي ديكتاتورة كباش وكشيء اقتصادي لما هي مستقلية هذا الوضع.
It's exceptional.
على أي حالات استثنائية بولي because dictator bring suppress freedom, something that free market needs.
Sure. Yeah, you know, it's really exceptional. Like I don't know, Chile under Pinochet.
Yes, I don't know about their experience.
Yeah, but he really improved the economy. Yeah, so he was dictator, improved the economy. But these are
حالتەکان دیکتاتۆر خراپە بۆ گەشتی اقتصادی بەڵام حاڵەتی استثنایی ڕوویاوە مەسەن نمونەی چیلی هێنا نازانم سەرۆکی کیبەر لەژێر دەستی ئەو هەرچەندە دیکتاتۆر بووە بەڵام یعنی گەشتی اقتصادی ڕوویاوە.
Otherwise, could be here, for example, how long does it take to start a new business? Yeah, that's an important point. These are the formal rules. Yeah, the formal rule could be how long it takes here, and you want to start with a business, so how long does it take?
ڵێکی تریش لەو شتانەوەی چەندی پێ ئەچێ تا تۆ بتوانین بزنسێک بکەیتەوە کارێک بکەیت. In fact, on that note, and this is for you, Zidek, it takes more money and time to register a company.
So Canada is very, very
No, I know, but no, you normally say, because here the argument is saying you are doing it because you are trying to be legal, follow rules. Well, I know Canada, the rule of law is high, right? So why it takes them less and here it takes more?
That's the trouble, and that's something that the government should. I shouldn't expect miracles from the government, but that they create reasonable rules.
Yeah. In fact, on that reasonable, do you know what's the difference here? And this is something I have been arguing and talking to people so that hopefully our government changes. Here, you cannot open a business if you don't have a space. If you don't show, even some of them they ask you to show that you have a washroom and it's kind of, you pay for rent. But think about someone, a starter, a recent graduate. They don't have money to survive for the monthly. How can they pay for something and they are not sure their business survive? While in Canada, it's more than enough to put your house as the base of your business. And in fact, you could get some tax back if you claim against like the use of electricity in your own home. So that's it.
That's it. That's about the formal rule that will be good for growth. That's exactly what we meant.
برای بعد مولیک می‌نام واسه ایل کانادا زور همون کلفا همون کار زور کم بیچه بود کانادا مثلی لأن زور زیاد بیچه و پارش زیاد رأی که لأنه نکار کینا و داله کنی که کلاشت کان بیان شانی بیشونه که هی و پار مانانی هی ولوازه که على بالتواليت خوي مستقل هذا يعني هاد دارسي دار زيادري هي لكندا أصلا طيب مالك يخوض تسجيل كده شيء الشكو تنامت بعض شيء كده وكمبانيا ويقول والله أخذ من باري كهرباء أو ما باري أو كهرباء كي مالك وبش يكفي تسكر كمبانيا كان هو أو تاكسي يعني أو نتشجيع يوم كارسازي دستيركا بعد تجي كي بيز بدو ونمرين ونيجي باش السرقة شون تطواني واركي الفورمال سيستم كخدمت يوكا شون زو كار بزنس دستيركا إيش كده.
This chart says that in countries that have higher protection of ownership rights, they have higher GDP per capita.
أنا شاطئ الله تجيب شان هاتشان ما في خاونداريتي فكري كاري ما في خاونداريتي كاري زراوتر بير GDP بس يعني كواتا حتى خلق كسكا كاري زراوتر لأن سايكولوجيكا مثلا لو كسكي ما كاري زراوت هو يعني سيستم كباش تيجي.
Informal institutions are very difficult to quantify, but it's about how your society works. Is it normal to follow the rules? Is it normal, or is it by the agreements? If it's common to cheat, so then you need to spend a lot of money for fixing that. Yeah, you must write that no contracts, etc. In UK, in Sydney, when you shake their hands, that's done. Deal is done. You don't need to have long papers, many attorneys, etc. to fix it.
In fact, I will just translate right now, but wanted to add something I noticed recently. I don't know what's happening. We as a culture, Kurdish culture used to be known for that kind of safe award. That's how we describe it. That's it. But unfortunately, that's disappearing. I think that's one of the biggest problems. I always say that we used to be saying, I gave my word, and that was it. But now it's becoming worse and worse when it comes.
It's difficult to make.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying is, I think that's one of the reasons why, in fact, our system, just to give you an idea, and I'm being very honest, because we are discussing something. أنا ما وين individual أصلا بيكتب عن الشنالة مصاري. كنت تسمع عليه شيء أبغى بيني وبينه.
I'm worried that the paper caps are leaking.
Which one?
The paper one. this one, that they are leaking because
Oh.
they leak here,
Oh,
and that's
sorry.
someone.
No, no.
Someone stay here. I clean it. So
Oh, sorry.
if you have to pay for caps, it could be.
Thank you for the feedback. جماعة المداولة ورقة ملاحظة كثيرة ورقة كانت يعني ليش؟ الله يمكن بس بوقت على Thank you.
Yeah. So my question is, if you know anything about Japan.
Well, we are very impressed by Japan. والله بس يعني كم سنة ويا يابان الناس يعني بيجوا
So what do you know?
Yeah. It's
Let's
one
see.
of the developing country. Yeah.
Great. What else?
It's another planet in our planet.
Yeah, that's what they call it. That's the stereotype about Japan. It's called the other planet.
Yeah, I think, but in my experience, it's correct.
Kyoto, you see, Kyoto.
Sorry.
Kyoto.
Kyoto. Okay.
Toyota, that car.
I'm raising the same Toyota because people love it because of your subject, economics.
Okay.
It's one of the best cars usually people.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. That's true. Of course. Of course. Anything else about?
I think it's the best thing that they have done after the bomb was sending most or maybe 90% of the people to study abroad and bring back the information and then
Yeah. Okay. Definitely.
in the country. That's the main reason why Japan is good now.
They are very good in copying,
Technology.
in studying. Technology is a great point, of course. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so they are very good in learning. That definitely, I agree.
Oh, that's interesting. Some inference about it. They are good in copying and learning. على درجة طبعا نعطيك زور من التفصيل كذا. I know China is like that too. They may even have jokes about Chinese people with camera when they go to technology affairs. But basically technology fairs. برز يلا China أو اليابان بشكل ناستا زور باش لام كوبي كردن جالسة باسي فينا بس شيء طبعا باسي كان قصدي بس كوبي كردن يتجري زمنية بس كوبي كردن يكي شاو يكنوف لكن جد كلمة دون شيء دون تيربون عباشي.
So there are some basic things. Lack of natural resources is a good. And they are so rich. Yeah. But on the other hand, they are rich, but we are on the fair. And so we were able to catch up with them in 30 years after the fall of the administration.
برز يلا so you were not able to catch up.
We were
So you were able to catch up. برز يلا طبعا قصير اليابان كان زود سأشعر سوشي كمان بس زود الله منن وشيرات كان أنا الله بلام إما تواني معنا طبعا برز يلا أقول مسجى كيف هو بلام لنا عملا لما هو سي صالة بيام كينو.
I may have possibly some surprising thing about Japan. One thing is that the level of English is very low, even in the locals.
Yes, I know from experience.
Yeah, it's just one of very few countries where my lecture has been translated actually.
Oh, برز يلا الله يابان أستي إنجليزي زور كمان كان أنا لو تيجي لقانا مخون ديما يعني وتيجي لو تيجي نبي كسيدان داوا لو كسي ترى نتعلمك يعني باور كان بيقسم يعني نحن نحاول كل إنجليزي سكان لما بطلاتي معنا في الجامعة كلها برز يلا أويا إن زور كمان كلام ما تكلماني محاضرة كان من كيا ترجمة أكيد.
One more similar thing with this country is that they don't use the card that offer, the banking card. And so I have to pay in cash. That's something that I'm not used to it at all.
And their visa system is kind of similar.
The-
They require the original stamp or
Yes,
something.
they have personal stamps,
Yes,
by the way.
yes.
Yes, it's just small ones for everything.
الله بس شيء يصير في المنطقة الله تصور كسيستمي هي كمان كاد بكارنا أنا لقي بكاش للزور بيشنا هاربي أشلا بلا شيء سبرايز على راسي دول الوقت يوم بيشكوتو كشيء أساس ما كتقليدية من بس يسمي شيء كل بس بيزان كل بيزي ألمانيا أو يابان يجي كلام الله تعالى ينافع من الدوكيومنت إلكتروني مثلا بو كونفرنس شو أيوة أبي كونفرنس كشو أنا كم مور سيستمي ختم يعني بلا كمان مور أصلي بيو بيكمل من اللي تقدمك يعني ما بوصل على يابانو دوكيومنت كم مور أنا كان شيء يعني كذا طلعت على لو يعني بيت ستان سيستمي يعني على غير ورا أصلا كيف يوده.
I don't know this with the using of the banking card, yeah, but as I can't use it here, there is zero acceptance. In Japan, it was limited. Yeah. At home, I pay everything. I was for a week in Poland. I didn't exchange money. I pay everything by card.
الله هو يفكرك ما وقتين يرفض جنات على ذلك سيستمي كريدت كارد وكذا ما نهني ولا زيرو يا. لا بعد الشهر بس يفكر له أنا أقدر نبي بس عام زيرو يا. بس الله نبي ليميتد يعني محدودة. الله بلا مثلا لحوم لا يعني لتشيك بس يسافر يركب وبولن داخل يا وهي كارنا قوي يطلب مني أنا أشتكي وهي هل بالكارت كم مكاننا يعني ولا بكارين. لا والله
There is some technical issue, but generally this chart says how often the inhabitants deal with the government online, yeah, or some like non-direct communication with government.
Who the bank?
No,
Sorry.
inhabitants.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you must deal with the government, how often you do it online?
Okay.
2019.
أنا شاطر لسه أويا كم تفاعلك كم تعاملي لقى حكومتها لرجال أونلاين يعني أو بشانها نسبي تعاملي لقى حكومتها لرجال أونلاين.
But you can't see, but Japan is here.
Oh my! But that's very surprising for me because they are now as technophile. In fact, they are now as the first augmented reality society.
I know.
Really?
Yeah. But
Maybe because of that stamp.
they use faxes, or at least before the COVID crisis, I don't know. Okay. But they are here.
والله إذا أنا يابانا للتفاعل يعني حكومتي إلكترونية كلا نيانا من خمسة surprising هو. شوف يابان مشهور بالتكنولوجيا لو قاري كم دراسة تأكيد يكم مجتمعي أوبيت دراو كم مهووس بالتكنولوجيا لك هي من المسألة. أشياء تعاملي على قبل حكومتها لرجال أونلاين أو يعني يقول يعني نبوة استشفاء ذكارين ولا زال شلون ينأكد شلون بلاي كود شيء هذا وزواره كيشوا.
I will talk about a miracle. So the period after 1950s and 1970s, and they were able to catch up with the West.
الله من يسوي معجزة كم كبير على صالح بنجاكان وحفتاكان كشون تاني أنا هناو بحناو بجنوا بغرب.
But if you see the following development, I will show the chart at the end. They are in fact lagging behind the United States. And so the gap between United States and Japan is increasing.
الله بس يساعد شرط كابشان مشان يساعد بين أمريكا ويابان زورة. In which way? US is better.
Yes, of course.
الله لو أني طبعا لو يعني أمريكا باشا. Since when? So does that mean the growth up to 1770 was high, but then they are now lagging?
After 90s, they are in fact quite stagnant. They are not growing much.
Oh, الله ندوينا وكانوا قشان أو ننا معه. يعني.
My personal explanation is that they are very good in learning what you said, in copying. But then, when you are so rich, you must be able to move the frontier. Yeah? You must be able to really have a very good technologies and be inventional.
And that's Silicon Valley. I have some cases.
That's more difficult. And so, of course, that they have good companies. I don't know, Sony or Toyota, etc. On average, they are not able. They are not there. So they are lagging behind.
Well, as I speak, is also in the بس هذا يوالله جيت اشتغل دوي أو شغلكي، على الثاني وكان مثلا تطوريا سريع بس برأيي على personal opinion حزة كم مشتبوي ولا بجنراليزيشن مرة يزور ملاحظة بعدين لشتي يعني شغله رأي شخصي لك رأي عام، على personal opinion أو يا حزة كم نبروي بلا دولة من بلا باش نفيد بنو كودي كذا، بس تقريبا اقتصادي يستان creative industry I think is all about innovation. بس زود اعتبارك على التكنولوجيا وملاحظون كدوم من خوي يابان باجي لو يقال بني وكله لأنه باش كان لو اتصالك خوك كشتكان كان بس طال بني هذا بوشي باوندري بوشي فرونتير كما يعني كان بلون الآن innovation شو اسمه بيستبيتي محدود لو لأنه مع عليه بما يابان الناس يبغوا إبداع فزين شون يعني بس بس أنا بس سوي كذا.
Because the society gets elderly, yeah. So that's a part of the trouble that they are.
I think they have the highest number of elderly. in the world.
Yeah, so that could be our trouble there.
الله مشكلة كشيء هي بلين كومولجاكيان بيريت زود بيريتيا بالكومول الله لو عالمها زود ترين نسبة بير ليابانا and then there is the child birth policy. No, it's in China, not in Japan.
No,
it's
sorry.
Japan. Oh, sorry, I was going to confuse the two. But يعني أو مشكلة هي يعني الله لا أنا شغلت كان كذي هم بيرسلوا.
Okay, so I would like to speak about the miracle, about 1950 and further.
I'm passing no work at I'm passing no معجزة كيف Punjab وحق دوي أواقع.
And they were growing a lot.
دشي زود يعني.
And I would see several things. I would try to a little bit speed it up there because. So after the war, the country was in ruins, but there were some programs, some like Americans experts arrived and helped them stabilize the economy.
Okay. برای زنانه من اصلاحاتی و کارتکو فتره اگر کیلانی نصوص شلوش نصوص پنجابو پروگرامی داره اگر کیلانا سپوری امریکی جزور interesting تو دوین هیروشیما و ناگازاکی سپوری امریکی داری درمتی. I was just saying it's interesting after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It talks something about Japanese people's culture in terms of tolerance and I mean passing conflict, like basically moving beyond it. Because, you know, in 1950 this happened, you know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki was, you know.
And they actually, during the Korean War, they became like full ally of the United States.
Yeah, I know, they have a very interesting case study on how they, like, reconciliation and peace building. بلين سبوري أمريكي يعني هلا أصلاً دولة كانت يحب كوريا بقاوم بألاي يعني بهالقيماني فول هالقيماني أمريكا يعني كخد على ذلك كانوا كيسكاني he attack يعني هيروشيما وناغازاكي يعني تدخل في ناغازاكي مشهورة.
أو نظرية داري أو سيستم داري ياباني سايش للسرقاري زناي شوريجي وقت. نظرية ودعوة كوب يابان كوبي كذا. أمريكا دعوة شون صلداوي كدوا نظرية عين البنو بوي كأوان كانوا سيستم الأمريكا جبرجكا الله زناقة وتنزوالة أمريكا سيستمي يا إداري اليابان كوبي كذا والله نازل شون كيف دستريبها لما بدرنا أبو أمريكا هذا دستريبها أو سيستم إداري كيابان جيت وجه واضح كذا شلون زيادة أو لورس شاوي وزيان كمان زيادة لغة فرودو قرب نعم بدوتوان توان لغة فرودو قرب جنيه ولا تكذب شوية تناو سيستمي كده تناو هو يا والله تدري
Mr. Sura, he is talking about saying impact the economy, like the model that they used based on a theory from an American scholar, where they applied and it became so effective that later U.S. asked to copy it. I'm not sure, like, and then but basically sarcastically the scientist was saying they are trying to bring it now, but it's too late to bring it, and that they don't know where it came from. Basically, trying to say it was from an American scientist, but then because they didn't do it in time.
I will talk about the methods a bit. So the other point is that not only in Japan, but the other countries has very high level of savings. Always have. So if you have savings, you can invest a lot.
الله يجي كتب الشكاك في اللي زور سيبينا كان زور تاريخنا كان شو عادة نوايا كتب زور تاريخنا زي احتمال استثمار زيادة أكيد.
And that's the reason why the banks are so important, because the investment is very directly connected to economic growth.
أنا بوي لو حالتها هم زور مهمة بلاين حالة تاريخنا كده شو تأثير زور لسه كشكل سماعة ويبقى بانك مهمة لوايا شو بانك زور يعني تجاه فاين سيفينج فأنا خيرك
So in the normal economy, the banks are collecting the savings and then lay them someone, and he can build a factory or something. Yeah, that's the case of Japan.
الله يقول إن كانت كتارة كور بينه وكخل بيته كرسمي بانقابة كيش أطوالي مثلا هذا بقر زي هذا الشيء تطوالي محل كاتو لنتيجة شيء ويا بغير فرص زيادة بسبب كيس ياباني كيلو كيساني تشتكى.
The other thing is that they imported licenses, but at the same time did something that was called reverse engineering.
Yes. الله يكشف هي دنيان بس مسألة تكنولوجيا، مثلا تكنولوجيا license import of license mean purchasing يعني كان تسيك اليابان لا شيء عشان تكنولوجيا يعني import يعني هذا نوع وهي موازين دروسية كان فايل إمبورتية كان زور لأنه لقاش كيف تغير بس إنجينيري جاء إلى حين بس يقولوا سبعة سكيسة كان هاكل بس كاب بس ليه في بس إنجينيري شيء بروسيسي بس أشتكي لبركة ساعدة هنا لك إيكيد أهلي وشيء يقول كيف هو هندسة دروس كده مية هو كتير بس إنجينيري مجال أهلي وشيء يقول كيف شيء بقعد هنا ولا أنا كتير مجال كان كان يقول مثلا دروني كي أمريكي وتشتكي يقول شو نقعد كيف بدرسي China تطالع وكان ينادي بري هذا الصراحة كمان كيف بدرسي
So you explain to reverse engineering.
Yes, I was explaining
Okay,
to
great.
engineering.
And by the way, the Japanese production in the 50s was considered as very like cheap, low quality products.
In 50s على إنتاج ياباني هزار نصف فنجاكانا زور هزام هو وحسابنا كلا quality بس أنا صار شغلي quality بس وأنا لو كاتبي أنا quality بس.
You can see the comparison with China, by the way.
على طريق قارنة كتير قصي.
And that they have a lot of savings, that's one thing. The other thing is that they are doing reverse engineering, in fact. They all complain that they are stealing our products and copy them.
I know China has that complaint, but does Japan also has?
This, okay, the reverse engineering means that you purchase
Yeah, I know.
something, disassemble them, and copy them.
Yeah, in fact, I was using an example. It was a drone or something that recently, a couple years ago, that like it was somewhere from US that got like Chinese got hold of it and they said we no longer use it because now they reverse engineered and they now all basically.
Yeah, so generally Chinese copied the
Oh, okay.
Americans' products
Yes.
and produce them on their own, and that's the same what Chinese do later on.
So who made the complaint? Sorry. Who made the complaint against who? Japanese made.
Yeah, that's what my question was. Is it Japan does reverse? Japan does reverse
In this
engineering.
period, in the 50s and in the 60s, Japanese were doing that.
So
That was
basically
called
they're doing
reverse
that.
engineering, yes? So they purchased, disassembled it,
Okay,
copied and
understand.
produced it on their
So
own.
who made the complaint? China made the.
And China follows the same thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
see,
so,
yeah,
so,
So
yes,
that, this was my question to her. I was saying, is Japan like China in
no,
that?
China is like Japan.
They do the same thing, yeah.
China in the 80s are doing the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah?
okay.
Or in the 90s, they are copying the Western goods and produce copy with lower
So
quality.
it started with Japan. That's good.
Yeah, that's the thing what I want to say.
Thank you for that clarification. That is a massive على أصلاً شو مثلاً كان نيصير الكيابان بس هيك بدو كيش ويا كيبان على لبنجا كان أول متهم بالمجتمع كان في كان زيوة ما في فكرة كيف كان كبيرة تكنولوجيا بيسموها كعاد ريفيرس انجينيرينج يعني كبروا كوا قوام بيسكتوا بلاي قوام على لبنجا كان أول جام كيبوس استعملوا بالصين لأن لا الصين وقوام يعني الصين دوائي هاشتاج بس كيدو براكتيسا.
And the labor market is working a very different way, or used to work very different way. There was a principle of lifetime employment. So you get a job, and you stayed in the factory for whole your life.
Like here in government.
Yeah, okay,
Which
but
I
it's very
complain
private sector as well.
Oh.
And then, yes, of course, in the private sector. And then there was the seniority principle. So you were progressing in the factory, in the company.
Based on your age.
On your years.
You were
On
the
your,
same.
on the years, how long you stayed in the company. So you didn't want to change the factory.
Yeah, so basically here we have something that's similar. They call it year of service. I make joke, I see that's year of presence in that building, not year of service. Thank you. But as I'm saying, do labor market يعني بازاري عماليا بشوازي كي جا كتبتي بشوازي كي جاي شكلت يوس يعني لكونا على الشركة تنقورا كاري بسرعته بويكا تعينون كتعين لكتي تايدتي شحت على مصانع إشاء وهمو ثمانية يتكتر لا تعينوي وكلها يقوم عن كتي حكومية وهذا سينيورتي مبدئي ثمن بس هذا تك ثمن بكو كاتشان صار لو شنو إيش كده تازع لو شنو إيش كده أو كسل ما همش تيجي مكافآت وش تيجي كده سر أساسا بكو لا يقوم جاب كل حظين مرات بس عملت كلينا ولا صالي خدمة ولا وصالي خدمتي وصالي تواجد لنا وبالنهاية بناء خدمته شو كان علاقة يلا بيني كاتشان صار لو شنو كان بيني أنا قبل شنو إيش كده.
Otherwise, they have a specific term, karoshi, for the death from overwork.
Yes, they have even a forest where they go and commit suicide.
That's not about committing suicide. It's about that you are working so much that you die.
But-
Not committing suicide, but that you are working so much that you die.
But I recently read an article that was talking some people from overwork death they commit suicide. I'm not saying this, but they were talking even about a forest where they do that.
Okay.
What
What I want to say, we don't have any word like that, and I'm quite sure that in Kurdish it's not word like that.
Oh no, yes, quite relaxed. Your colleague last time, she was impressed by the word leaving the office. That's why I said, you should thank us, others leave at 1 or 12. وهذه مثلا على التعبير كان هاي يوم كاروشي ككلمة يعني مردن لك زول يشكردنا وانتم بالله بيسمح بعد كان انتحارة كانت هنا من نار الانتحارة كان أظن أو هي النتيجة زول يشكردنا أمرن وتبقى زعملة لا هي موانية ولا لا هي وجوارك نو هذا زول ريلاكس ذلك شو زميلي كاتب وسرداني كذبين ساعات مشتاق ورشتي دوي بتشتي زول زيادة لك يعني زول مني يوم حتى ساعة وتشي أبونه وتم جابوا وين زول باشية بنظريك جابوا سباس بس قالوا وني لا يمون يعني بتأكيد لا يمون بتأكيد
There are numbers of paid of even public holidays. So you could see that Europe is somewhere else than of course United States, but Japan is here. So very low public holidays.
يعني بكو برستان بينهم عدتي أطلع زور كمان يعني حتى يعني هذا كلام الله فاني كعدد. And where is US? Wow, I am impressed.
Zero.
Where is Canada? Do you mind going back? Sorry.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Because in Canada they have at least
Yeah,
once a
Canada
month.
is-
Yes.
That's
But
right.
yes,
كان كانوا ما في الدوري تقريبا.
بس هو ثاني الله يعني فيك زور كمان يعني public holiday هم زور كمان طبعا أمريكا
It's surprising how come the United States is zero.
Yeah, me too.
They are officially
Because you
no.
know there's Christmas times and
Officially
other
no.
ones.
But that's these paid holidays يعني
That's it. Paid annual leave and public holiday. أخلاص public holiday. أخذ صفر ما وصل سيك هذا جرب سيك.
بس يعني أوان ما يهرب يعني داني ولي غير حركة.
لا وصل أخذ بيت من الحين على public holiday. Public holiday هم الدنيا مثلا زي الكروتي مثلا بسيطين شو أمريكا دي.
I don't know how it works exactly, but they are probably not paid for it. Yeah, so they are free, but they don't have.
Oh, so that, okay. One question. So in Christmas time.
I suppose that they don't have money for that. That they are home, but they.
Oh God, that's a
If you don't work, you don't. You are not.
They have it, but they are not paid. My God. يعني تنانت يعني كل ما صار يان توزيع حكيها. مثلا كان public holiday يعني public holiday كش هارون يضرب. يعني هي holiday براسي داخل شو نظام Thanksgiving داخل يعني مجالي ثاني يعني كانت Christmas داخل وجامعة كان بس فكرة كيف بس إذا أو كل ما صار يان إضافة كذا هارون يعني. أخذ سفرة كم سنة؟ لا 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 عفوا بس بوصل. So do you mind going back to the previous slide? إلى شرطة كنا.
Paid vacation.
بلا لسه كم سنة on public holiday أو paid annual leave and public holidays ليانا مزاني كيدا كبو أنك جالس في الأخير سنوسين ميزيها شو هذي سنوسين ميزيها بس أبوي حبس هذا ليش كونتراديكت يشتكي يا كل لأن لازم البرامج أزام مجموعة public holiday هي أمريكا مجالي ثانية بس نمزاني ما كم جال أزام باركي ثانية هاي.
In managerial methods, they concentrate on maximizing market and not necessary profit.
Okay, I see. على الشيوازي إدارة كتنيا فلسفة كان وايد من زيادة مثل ذكاء. بعضنا مفرعون كتني بازار إنك خازنش.
And they are, for example, just-in-time system. Yeah.
Just-in-time.
Just-in-time system means that you are trying to minimize this. That you have, say, raw materials or some other parts in the factory. So they try to minimize it. Yeah? So the factory is waiting, I don't know, for subcontractors, and they are not in the factory. They are waiting and just bring it when it's the time. When it's the time to.
Okay, so they don't have storage in that sense.
That's the word.
Oh, thank you. So just in time, what system يعني كده just in time إستا رأي ها يعني بعدين بحفظ نيكده كرس كده سكعب يشك اشتكى على أكثر دست مخزون يعني بعد storage يعني يمكن دست خوش.
And they were very popular, these methods. Yeah. There were even jokes, because at the end 80s it seemed that Japan will quickly be richer than United States. At the end of the 80s, yeah. So it was a matter of time when they were overcome United States. So there were jokes like, American and Japanese managers are caught by the people who eat other people.
Oh,
Cannibals.
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 Oh, really?
And they have the last dish. And the Japanese manager would like for the last time talk about Japanese managerial method, and the American manager would like to die before his life.
الله أمين هشتاكان أو كان اقتصادي اليابان ولا بيشكل يتصور كراو كسروا أمريكا بيا الله نكتة كسركاو. In fact, I have another. This one is research about managers in Japan versus US, but I forgot. But not a joke. The joke is really interesting. الله وجانا بلاك أجا cannibalism هو بعض إنسان يقوم دوانا عن مديرك ياباني مديرك أمريكي ما هو هل كان أمل يعني مش شيء تمنى شيء كي سيرك أمريكي ياباني كالله حتى كم آخر المحاضرة قلنا نسمي ميثودي ما إداري إخوان مديريتي إخوان الله كأمريكي كان بلين تمنى كتولا ببرم بيجي قبل محاضرة. Thank you. That was hilarious.
So there are charity system. Otherwise, the corporate structure was based on a kind of groups. When there was a bank inside and financed the group, that was called, or is it called Keiretsu?
Okay, so what's that one?
The Keiretsu system.
Keiretsu system, that's what.
It means that you have a bunch of companies that are interconnected, and there is a bank that finances.
السيستم كيرتسو سيستم يبيعون معناه هو يجمع بانك السيستم كان بيكو رابط فول ولا نتورك كان بسكتو بقول بانك كورتنا وبانك بارانيات يعني كعمية لدلا أوكيان كان بيكو.
And there was very strong export growth. So it was that what we spoke just before about export-led growth.
بالله زيادة سيري بري أمريكي اليابان تصديق زور هو باسي كل بشيء كما بتي أنا باسي تركيز في مثل بعض الولايات باسي أرجع كشون اقتصاد كان أساسي إكسبورت تصديق زيادون كشيء كده.
Yeah, that's the growth of exports. Yeah, so you could see it was.
أول بيجي فلسطين عشان وراء كيف بقى.
And what is like the most discussed thing is the economic policy, because Japanese government was highly active. Yeah, and there were some institutions who said, for example, we may not have more than, I don't know, 3 producers than motorcycles. And so if there was other company who wanted to produce motorcycles, government said, no, you can't do it.
أنا سأقول سيك لو صار مرة الشركة ما الدولة يزور كاريها هو لمثلا policy دانا سياستي اقتصادي. الله يقول هناك قرار يعني نابي لسه كومبانيا زيادة هذا بروديوسي سعرك برهني سعرك تواجه هي كبير سعر. If another company wanted, they would have asked them to integrate or they refused. كانوا تناقضون يعني طبعا كمان أنا لما مثلا هي سياسة اقتصادية بوضعين كان مثلا تحديد اشتراك ولا يزور شغلة كان أشتغل كده.
So these 2 institutions, Economic Planning Agency and Ministry of International Trade and Industry, were really adored. Yeah, they seem like that they are behind the economic miracle.
Okay, so they were that were implementing the government economic policies. عنده مؤسسات كسياسة كان طابلين تحكم فيها وكدولة أما أمامهم مثلا بمعجزة كان Economic Planning Agency شان وزارة صناعة وتجارة وزارة صناعة وتجارية ودولتي هنا وكذا.
Yeah, but you could see that after 1990 they are lagging behind. They still have the same institutions like these, and it's not helping the growth anymore.
One thing was impressed me, or not surprised me, is having the Ministry of International Trade. Here we have trade or industry, but having it international.
It can be named anyhow.
No, but no, my point is, it seems that they were focusing on international.
Yeah, they are, of course.
Yes.
They are.
بس يمكن نقول لهم سنرجع كيف كفيلمين ودولة كان سبوس ناي وزارة فكديار في فوكس كان أنا وكنا بنقول وزارة التجارة معناه مثلا ناي كلمين ودولتين بس بيوريت ديار تركيز عن سدنا وبو نواتش أودي فبرز أنا بس دواي نوصلنا هو وسيلة كي إيكونوميك جروث يعني اللي بدو هرم دوانا يعني ولا إنسان دوانا شو دوانا يعني ولا معجزة كا دواي يستقبل هرم عن شيء يعني اللي متيجه.
And the last point is political stability. They had democracy that was dictated by Americans after the war, but since 1955, with exception of one period, there is the Liberal Democratic Party of Japan in charge.
هذا الغرب اللي نجاي أول شيء أمجا كانوا سيستم ديمقراطي كان بقوة أمريكا كل فرصي كل سيان سياسة نجاي أول كل نصف أمجا كان جو حكومة وكل تسيكي كل زورتي خصبة أكيد لنا حزبك أو بدوية by only one political party. You mentioned except for one time or the whole thing from
from the whole period except by 6 years, I suppose.
الله بيرجع للشخص ماوي الشخص صالين نبيه هذا هو حزبي بديوتي برا ولاده Liberal Democratic Party.
Generally, the Japanese dislike changes. Yeah, they are
yes, very traditional.
Very traditional.
والله على يعني سربرايز تقريبا أو نقولها أنا بو كومال جاي ياباني شو ياباني مخش دفاع من البلاد زور تقليدي يعني حزي على البوران كاريمية زور أنا هو شتيت على البلد أبيت كاتك هاي تصرف فارق ترانا وخبيت كذني كومال ها كلتور ها تشتيك أبيك أبوي باسيك institution هلا حكومية لا كومال جاكشة يعني هو أبيت إشكا بوي شني إشكا ولا لا تقليدي بيكذا زور تقليدي.
And if we think about the informal institutions, they are very following the government. Yeah, if the government tells them, so they do. They are respecting the authority.
Yes, على احترام يعني بو صاروخ وين زورا حتى بو لتمني شاوان تراسية يعني باش لو يكسر بيا اللي يشا صاروخ تقام نزامن يا زور يعني respectful يعني رازي يكفي قد ما تايبتي مثلا بتمنوان اللي زور احتمالية هو لو شو سيجي هاد مانيفستي كده للرزقية
موضوع دام زرقاء مداني بس قبل ما يخزن المستوى قبل ما كانوا دقاني خزن المستوى يعني
Mr. Solar is saying they say that even their government is built on the system of the family kind of way of thinking, like you know, they are like a family kind of. I was just arguing about that. It's very traditional.
I don't know how much it's based on the family. It's just that we did it this way. We use cash, so we don't want to use cards.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, yeah. So they are like that they keep all with the flexes. Yeah, it works, so we don't want to change it.
أيوة أنا تصورنا قبل المسألة كخير أيوة بالسروي بكدوة دباري تقاليد بارس.
زود بس أنا بحكم الله.
طبعا تقاليد لكن مسألة خير. طبعا مسألة تقاليد. تعرفين تقاليد إن شاء الله حتى مسألة البهاجة تقاليد.
والله ما زود شيء كسر.
طبعا كنت بس كده وصلنا للفارس ما دام يشكابودي قرب. نظام وشتي كابودي كم تقليد. زود مفهوم مشهور المسألة. One question for you, Zidek. This is very interesting thing, and I noticed it over and over. I even read about it. People in US, especially in US, for somehow they like to be related to Japan. Would it be because of that?
I don't know about it.
I have heard them. They bargain about marrying a Japanese woman or being somewhere in Japan and
they like Asian girls. I don't
So
know.
one question: if the government is ruled by the king or by the
By
we heard some news the king is still there.
Of course, there is a Caesar. There's a not king. There's a Caesar. But he plays a ceremonial role. Yeah, doesn't play any. He doesn't have real power.
Like UK.
Like
Queen.
Yeah, like.
UK they have power.
Okay, kind of. And what I wanted to say generally is that if you are listening to authority, you are not too creative.
I would say, in fact, I will tell you a very interesting research by Zidek, not a talk on that. Ale استاسيك بالله حنا كنت نجي في الشوارع نشوف كيف كيزور الفلسطيني لا سرها بنزبونو نزبونو تقلب. Ale كزور بيولا authority بيلانية نتيام كشيء كنا تأثيره بس هو صامت. ale عادة هو اقتصادي صار بس تهنا نشجع قلالي جربنا تخلون ولا متابعتنا كذبتات. يلا أجر زور بقصي authority كريتيف كده بطبيعة ما يشوف تو بقصي شيء تكراري دولاري هو السبب اللي هو بيلتوي نوعنا بطبيعة كده.
But in COVID it could be good. The government told them, they follow and they have very
good I was saying that's the time when you realize why it's good to obey or not. At least for COVID case. أنا بعمل كوفيد أزود استفادة عن كده هذا حمانة استفادة شو كم خوكنا بقصنا لا كمان بقصنا In fact, you know Farid Zakaria, he's an anchor in CNN. He has a program called GPS.
I think GPS, or I don't, like, my memory cognitive is not functioning very well these days, but basically he mentioned about something. There is a standardized math test worldwide. I don't know what's the name. We talked about a case where, in Singapore or somewhere else, they normally get the highest number in the math, that standardized math test. US is lagging behind. And he said, one time I asked that minister from that country, said, well, you normally the kind of technological innovation that they do in Silicon Valley is related to math skills. He said, I asked him, well, how come you are the one who's performing better in math, yet innovation happened in US? And the reply of the minister was saying, we prepare them for that test and they do well. But you do other things like entrepreneurship, other skills, transferable skills that relate to innovation, and that's why innovations happen in Silicon Valley, not in that country. برزان باسي فالزكريا كسي يزود يعني بيك كذا إني كذا برنامج GPS أنا CNN كسي يقول جاي كان شو ما توكي شو سيكي باس كله توكا كان يعني باس كان جاي كان كي وضع سنغافورة واتكرر نش زور باجي ناقة وتبتي لدوي كامل زكي بينا كوفيد بيان دوسي سيام ولا خما هو هم يعتبو هندي يعني باسي أكيد أيوة في وجود باش أيوة هم صالح امتحان الذكاء هي صالح لو كان هيك أو واقع ناس عم تعلم سنغافورة كيف بيصير بيرنا نافي الذكاء بنستلم درجة يعني لا أمريكا عادة سكيل الذكاء زورتي بس اللي يقولوا عن تكنولوجيا ده هنا أنا هيك مثلا أبليكيشن وأنا إبداعي كالسيليكون فالي أمريكا وتي مليون بس يوجو باش شلون يعني يولا بالكاريا باش تلقى وش تعمل اللي بيروايا وتي جت آخر يوم حازم ما كدون بون امتحان فعلا درس الامتحان كذا بلام أوش تعني بيست بودا هنا هذه الكاريا كان مثلا سكيل إنوفيشن كريتيكال ثينكينج مثلا كوميونيكيشن وكارسازي سكيل يعني وتي أنا الأمريكا ما يجي وين يعني قابل تطبيق كردن بالكاريا كم يدرون بالكاريا كخوي بحثي كراجي.
This is United States are 100 GDP per capita. So you could see how they were able to catch up till the beginning of 70s very quickly. In fact, get to something like 70% of United States. Then it was stagnant, and we have it here. It would decline to something like 60% of United States.
And this one is for Japan.
That's
right?
Japan. In comparison, 100% are United States. So in 1950 they were 20%, and they were 70%. Top was 85, and now it's 60.
برزان وعكالة أجل جنات تنسيليو دايرام كان نبوهي يابانا GDP كات أمريكا الصيام هم قارن إيران بليس صكية أمريكا اللي مش قارن قارن لكن بني يابانا أكو جنات كان بينها لفنجا كانوا بو حافتا كان شن سريع بو بيار تواني برده ودبرز بوتو نزل بوتو يستطيع كي بداوز لما
Or say it a different way. This is the Czech Republic. The red is Czech Republic, the blue is Japan.
In 2018.
That's up till now.
Okay.
So you can see how we caught them up with Japan.
هي chief قارنا كذا يابان أجل برس عم بيجي شون جالسة بلين قارنا كذا يجان بريون جدواي شونيم بالنسبة لكتير.
And so the roots of the miracle are very individual. Yeah, you can't copy. Yeah, because you will not behave as Japanese.
The root of the miracle. الله رجي معجزة بلين وعي بلين زور إلهي بس يا أخي شوي نطلع نيم خو في يابان صدق سوا بوريش كاش بوسيا كيري بوريش كا.
As we can't copy. Yeah, we can't do it. Because Czechs behave a different way.
شيء كيش تصرفات جاك كان كمان جاك مجموعة كاركتر وخاصية ويني هي تبي شكا بس هو كيس فاسيكا.
So your growth is in your hands.
الله بروا كشكلتني أبوي خوتان بدس خوتان.
So what do you think? Is it enough? Or I could talk about Korea as well, but this is better. Korea is a miracle. Yeah? I can just... Okay.
What we do, whoever likes to go, they can leave. I personally like to hear.
I could quickly talk in English without translation.
أجل تعملها بالدور بالإنجليزية بتشارك مع بعض.
It would be more better. Because actually that's interacting. The ideas is going away and
Sorry,
there's so many information.
We discussed it at the beginning. In our world, workshops, one of the reasons we give it the two language, we apply the principle of inclusivity, not majority. Inclusivity means even if one person in this room doesn't understand it,
Yeah,
we
we've
call
done that
it
yesterday as well, but
Yes.
it's actually the information is so.
Yeah, no, of course. That's why I said I stay. So please go ahead. But it's totally okay if you have to leave. We understand that.
Okay, I try to be brief. I know that it's really very long
So
already.
please continue in English.
Yeah. So this is so.
طيب يعني كيف هالشيء كيف والترجمة كان بكردي والترجمة كان وكباس وكنا من مبدأ ما الوركشوب كان ما نجي يقول لنا زوينا عادة قلي ما هو يلا بيكر ماكس ما عفوا كان بس أنتو زي أنانية تيال ولا أنا بروي قمت لكم خلينا أول تنشتغل اليوم مبدأ أول هي كمان مكاننا please.
So this is so today. You could see that it's really rich city, and this is so in the 50s or 60s. Yeah, you could see in the 50s, 60s, it was just ordinary developing country. Yeah, or look like that. Yeah, so it's a real economic miracle when the country was able to catch up with developed countries and became really rich. So right now, you could see the general numbers here. You could see that they're on very same level GDP per capita as we are. That of course they are much better than the North Koreans that you will see. It looks like this. So North Korea and South Korea, and because the border you can't cross it. In fact, so South Korea is island de facto. At the same time, this is number of children per woman, and it's very low number. And just to keep the population stable, you need 2.1. And they had one of the lowest numbers in the world. They are working extremely hard to get there. Really extremely hard everywhere. Yeah. I think that we can skip all of these, or you can scan it. And
sorry, they asked me, do you mind sharing? You said us that
you can share it.
But do you mind?
Yeah,
we do it normally in all our workshops, but we ask, we know that's
I was already asked by one of the.
No, we normally do it within it's our own. Or we ask our guests if they can share it. Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So then about the institutions, and what was very common was again the discipline and like accepting of the authority, yeah, of the king and anyone else. So for example, the entrepreneurs were seem to be very low on the hierarchy in the society. So then, when they started to grow, they get medals and prizes to the entrepreneurs to say, this is good behavior, that's what we support. And generally, people are willing to obey the rules. Again, yeah, that obey the king, yeah, something that we can hardly adapt, and I'm worried that you can't as well. High savings, very high savings again. Yeah, so banking sector is transferring the savings to investment. But on the other hand, if you have happiness, that you can see happiness in school, so Korea is very bottom, actually just before the Czech Republic. Because what they have together as they have in China is that they have one exam at the university. And you pass it, good, you go to great university, you don't pass it, you go to poor university. So this very particular day is the decision for all your life. And they studied extremely hard to this very exam. They had no chance to go to for other this day. End of the story.
In Korea is like that too?
Sorry?
In Korea is like that or in China?
In Korea and China as well.
What's the first country? I forgot my
The
class.
first country is, I can read it too, I think that Indonesia.
Wow, that's the happiest?
Yeah, like the children are happy at school.
The children, so this is about children.
Children at school. And not surprisingly, because the pressure on the children is enormous. Yeah. And then you could see the committing suicide, and South Korea is on unpleasant third place, by the way. And you could see that Japan is very high too. Yeah, so that the societies, that the pressure in the society is very high. So they are extremely hardworking, really, yeah, extremely extremely hardworking. And in the first years, it was that their wage were very low, so they were able to do things very cheaply and get to that. But you could see the progress. Yeah, that 1945, 75% were illiterate. 1960, in just 15 years, they declined the illiteracy rate by 50%. Yet that the importance of education is extremely high again in the society there. Then what they have as specifics are these chaebols that you know, Samsung, Kia, all of them you know. Yeah. And they are conglomerates that are producing everything from chips to ships. Said, yeah? So from very basic thing to something really huge one. They are family owned. There are interconnection with politics that is not too pleasant. They are just, the boss of Samsung was just in the jail, among others, etc. So we can admire these brand names that they were able to really grow or bring the Korean to the standards, but they are not that loud at all. And the structure is complicated, as you can see, so no one understands it. In fact, that's Samsung. And again, the role of the government was that they said was to do. Yeah, so again, there was the active role of the government who supported that. And among others, it really supported export, so integration into the world market. And so you could see the growth of export to GDP, so that's export-led growth, that they were exporting more and the economy was growing because of that. Then I spoke about the stable things, yeah, so, or about macroeconomic policy. So you could see, if you don't consider the situation of the war, Korean War, so consequently inflation was at maximum somewhere 30%. No hyperinflation, no macroeconomic disaster, all the time reasonable macroeconomic policy. So we may discuss the role of the government, it should be active or not. I think that it's very big, it depends on the population. And so if the population is willing to accept it, okay, it could help. Yeah, if the people trust the government. It can't work somewhere else, it can't work in each republic. But what I said is reasonable macroeconomic policy. Reasonable, yeah, so don't allow huge imbalances, huge troubles. And then growth. Increase in productivity and GDP per capita. So you have countries like Senegal, stagnant in practice. Ecuador, more or less stagnant. Malaysia is a reasonable country, nicely growing. Right now, in different measures, we may have GDP per capita nearly $30,000, but Korea is miracle. That's it. That's how Korea looks like now. So.
Thank you for putting it in visual.
Yeah.
The change, I mean, having pictures for before, pre, and post.
I understand. I was there actually for my summer holiday for, I don't know, 3 weeks. And I was really impressed. I was impressed by the achievements. We had, if I remember, I saw the photo somewhere how the city looked 50 years ago. It's slum. And there was a normal, nice city. Real great achievement. You can see children mortality, of course. Yeah, with the development, children mortality. And yes, and then there is the trouble with the neighbor. So that's
North Korea.
That's North Korea. That's South Korea in 9. That's Pyongyang. You could see it. Yeah, or see it from different angle. These are some estimations of GDP per capita. You could see on the basis. Yeah, so still in the beginning of the 70s, the estimation says that they were on par. But then, miracle. Exactly. So, that was very briefly.
That picture?
I showed it yesterday, so that's our president, Václav Havel. He said, you could read it from home.
I see that.
That denies its citizens their basic rights becomes a danger to its neighbors as well. And Kim Jong-il going down says, you said about me the best to become a danger to your neighbors. So, again, please, if I should somehow summarize it, I would say that there are these institutions that I talk about, and that I believe that are very crucial. The behavior of people. They are very difficult to change. It's a matter of long time. Yeah? And again, in both of these countries, it was so successful because the people were obeying, listening, working extremely hard in both of the cases. Yeah, that's something that you can't transfer. You can't convince the people here to have scholarship. Yeah, that's from overworld. Yeah, and it's a matter of really slow improvements. That's it. The government in both of these cases was very active. It seemed to be working well, but it's not anymore, at least in Japan case. But again, in both of the cases, reasonable macroeconomic policy. Don't allow hyperinflation, deficit, etc. Possibly a last thing. At home, sometimes people would like to have Swedish model of capitalism. I tell them that it's nonsense. It's nonsense because we don't behave as Swedes. So we can't have Swedish model of capitalism. No, we can't have Americans or Japanese model because Czechs behave in a different way. Yeah, so it's up to you. Yeah, it must be based on your roots, on your functioning or your society. Yeah, and yes, possibly need some improvements. Yeah, but it's really up to you. Yeah, in my view, the growth and the standards. Yeah, so don't expect any miracles from outside. The miracle must be yours. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yes, we will take, but let me thank Dr. Zidek for your very, very impressive and informative presentation on both yesterday and today. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and knowledge.
I'm glad.
And we are very honored for hosting you. And thank you very much for the University of Masari and